I was there for that.
Went there for that, yeah. And how about when your dad passed?
When my dad passed away, I wasn't there. He was in the hospital because for the last 3 years he had Alzheimer's.
Oh, what a shame.
And his dad had it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a shame. That's an awful disease, isn't it? Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
My mom went through a lot with him.
Yeah. I bet she
And my mom died in the hospital too, Khmer Hospital, the same place as my dad. And then her body was waked for one night, like from 4 to 8.
At home?
But there was so many hundreds of people is that it went on from like 4 to 10. Yeah.
Well, I bet she was well known in the area.
Well known from all over.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah.
They never say anything like it.
Yeah. And she was 90?
Just 90. And she passed away on my dad's birthday.
Oh,
He died October 6th. I mean, that was his birthday, and she died October 6th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Over the years, you've been going back very frequently to Ireland, and there's been a lot of changes. What do you see as the biggest changes that have happened in Ireland?
All the different nationalities, and I noticed like in Galway, I don't know what country they're from, but there's a lot of begging.
Really?
Yeah. And then the other thing I notice is you really don't get value for your money. I find everything so expensive, and everything is so skimpy, the way they serve it to you. That's the one thing that bothered me.
Yeah, it's a whole different kind of culture now.
Like this kids, like in the city, they're laying in the street, and the mother is there, and they're playing an instrument, or they have baskets out looking for money. They'll run into McDonald's or stores, and begging.
And the crime rate has gone up too, hasn't
Oh, tremendously, yeah.
I can remember a time when I went to Ireland and you'd never hear about a murder or anything on the paper.
And now I have a very good friend living in Galway. She's a school teacher, and she said the kids coming in today have no respect. She said it's terrible what's going on in the schools.
Well, drugs probably
Drugs are,
adding to that too.
Sex, and now I heard how they're being, their tattoos, and they go to the tanning salons, and they're being picked up by a limo. I mean, this is what's going on there now.
Totally different from the way you
So
grew up,
different,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So some things I prefer to go back to the olden days.
Yeah. Oh, I would imagine.
It's growing up too fast.
Yeah.
Like my sister, she called from London the other day, and she said, Nora, in another 10 years, there won't be too many Irish in Ireland.
I would say, yes. Well, yeah. For so many years, the Irish have come out of Ireland.
She said it's like...
And it's going kind of in reverse now, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of the euro and the common market and so many different nationalities. And
what do you think of the common market? Do you think it was a good thing?
in some respects, yes. Ireland maybe has done better, but in other ways it hasn't. It's, there's still a lot of poverty, and there's so much disrespect over there, and so much looting and stealing and murders. And there was a time they were following all the old age pensioners, stealing their pensions, hitting them over the head. But, and there's a lot of suicides in Ireland.
What's
a lot.
That? I've heard of that. Why is there so much suicide, do you think?
I think it's pressure. Yeah, peer pressure.
Peer pressure?
Mm.
Yeah. For school, for education?
Education, and then, like, I had a cousin, and he committed suicide. My mother's sister's daughter's son. And I think it was all pressure. Or maybe he didn't pass the leaving exam or something.
Yeah, there's a lot put on.
And then there was another neighbor downstairs, home, and the father found him hanging in the shed. There was like at least 3 or 4 people in our town.
And that's younger people.
Young people, 15, 16, 18. Yeah, very sad.
Yeah. That is, yeah.
And I don't know what, they say it's peer pressure, but I don't know what's doing it.
Yeah.
One tries to be better than the other, and then they're pressured into stuff, and if they don't do good in an exam, like in college, if you don't do good in college, it's free. If you don't pass, you're out. Yeah. And then that's a big embarrassment.
Yeah.
So they can't take the pressure.
Yeah, that's a big... I love when I'm in Ireland, the Irish radio, the shows
on
Irish radio.
Mm-hmm. And the TV even.
Yeah.
I just love that.
There's still a lot of...
But there's still a lot of good stuff, yes.
Mm-hmm. That you really enjoyed listening to. Mm-hmm. There's two...
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. Gary Moore, or was, I forget, he was on TV, and he's not on anymore, I think.
Gay Byrne?
Gay Byrne.
That's
I loved him.
Yeah,
He was a great guy.
yeah, yeah.
And then me Hollow Hair doing the games. He was on for so many years, like 30 years on radio.
And who's it now? Was she somebody?
I have no idea.
No, you don't, I
No.
hear him being interviewed. And there's two women that do a show out of Kerry that I always like listening to. Laura and Mary, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and they have to play a lot of the old time music, and they make it sound like it's right in the kitchen. You know, it's in a studio.
We've a lady, I should give you the tape. Her name is Peg Crowley, and she's a storyteller. She's a great comedian. She has a lot of funny stories. Yeah.
When you go back to visit, did you go and pick up the social life that was there? Do you still have a lot?
Yes, in Kinmare in our town, there's set dancing every Wednesday, so a live band would come. And of course I'd be there, and a lot of people don't dance, and I talk to them. But all the people I grew up with are gone except for one girl.
So,
Yeah, they all have immigrated.
Yeah.
And then I'd go up to my cousin's O'Neill's every Friday where the dancing is, and that was a great meeting place.
Yeah.
And then I'd go into town shopping, and I'd meet everybody there. Or the 15th of August is a big fair day in Kinmare where they sell the livestock on the street. But now they built a mart outside the town, and everybody goes there to sell their animals. But in the town they sell little ponies, hens, chickens. They sell fish. They sell all kinds of furniture, all kinds of clothes. It's like a big market.
So it's a fair day.
A fair day,
Yeah.
yes.
And that's the 15th.
The 15th of August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there music and dancing and things?
Music
like
and
that?
dancing all night.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
That's real nice. And so that's a custom that's still kept up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were growing up, was there much talk about the Troubles?
No, very little. You never heard it?
You didn't hear
No.
about it?
No.
Did you hear more about it after you came to the States?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
I've heard other people say that as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, that you knew more about it after that. If you were to go back home to Ireland to live, what would be the best part about going back?
I guess going back with more money, being comfortable, finding a nice place to live.
Yeah.
The one thing I wouldn't like is probably the weather, the deterrent.
Yeah. You've gotten used to the weather here.
Yeah.
And how about the heat here? When you first
The
got here,
humidity.
and the humidity. What was
Yeah.
that like when the first summer you were here?
I lost a lot of weight.
I bet you did.
Yeah. Didn't eat at all. I just couldn't eat. Yeah.
Oh boy, that would. And
So
how
I went
about,
from probably size 10 to size 4.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, yeah. And how about your parents when they came out? What did they think of the weather when they got here?
My dad, he liked it here, liked to visit, but he thought it was just too busy, such a rat race.
Yeah.
That's what he said. It was overwhelming for him.
Yeah.
All the traffic, all the bridges, they'd love to come and visit the family, but he was always saying, well, if I was in Ireland now, I'd be doing this or that, always checking with his watch.
Yeah.
And my mom, she loved to travel, but she loved going back home. She just thought there was no place like it. Yeah. And she lived on her own up until she was 90. And just the last month, she got sick and went in the hospital.
Did your brother was still living there then on the farm then? With
My
her?
brother, one on either side. She had her own cottage. It was called Little Heaven
Oh.
because English people came and they camped there. And then they wanted to build a house. So my dad said, you can have the land for free. But he said, when you pass away, the house is ours. Because he always paid the taxes.
Uh-huh.
And the house is still my sister's now.
And so your mother moved into that house?
She
when
moved
got
into that
older?
house when she got older.
And they called
And
it
my
Little
dad.
Heaven?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice. What kind of a house was it?
It's a little bungalow, they call it.
Yeah.
Little ranch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And she converted the garage to a bedroom so that when the family go home, they have 3 bedrooms.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very
But most of us stayed up at the guest house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a 2-story type?
Yes, 2-story.
Yeah.
Right.
When you think back on being a child there, and what would be your fondest memories that would come right to mind to you?
I think just going out in the field, picking blackberries, doing the hay out in the field, and having lunch out there. Work in the field.
So that was summertime activities,
Yeah,
really.
right.
The blackberries are huge over there. Not
Big
blackberries
thing,
are
yeah. We
here.
love that.
Yeah.
Delicious.
And what was the experience of putting up the hay like? everybody participate?
First, the horse and cart would cut it right with the scythe or the electric thing. No, it was the horse and what do you call it? For cutting the hay anyway. So then we'd have to go and rake it all into big ridges and then stack it up, the hay, and we'd have put it in big cocks. And then my dad would tie it with burlap and twine. And then we'd haul that up to the house. And then later on we also had wheat, and there was a day where they'd hire a mehel, and there was like 8 or 10 farmers who would come together to our house, and it was called the threshing. The tractor would separate the grain from the corn, from the wheat, from the grain, and that was put into bags for the animals. And then my mom fed those people all day long.
And fed them in the fields?
Yeah, right at the house, because the threshing went right on in the yard.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a machine that sorted the grain from the chaff.
And then she took all that grain and she eventually
They put it into bags, yeah.
And she turned that into the flour that she baked
It
with?
fed the animals for the winter,
right,
yeah.
Okay. And how about her flour that she baked with? Did you
Well,
say-
we'd sell some of it, and that'd be flour. We'd buy the bags of flour, like 20-pound bags.
Did she bake every single day?
Every day. Plain white bread, raisin bread. Yeah, she used to make treacle bread. That's like a brown bread.
Yes. Yeah. So,
Huge apple pies once a week.
yeah. And when?
And then cutting the turf, that was another big thing done.
Yes. Talk about that a little bit.
We'd
That's
go up to the bog, and
Did you have your own bug?
we had our own bog. Everybody had their own bog. And you paid so much a year for that. I don't know how much. And my dad would cut with the slán, it was called. It was like a pitchfork. You cut it down the bank and you throw out the sod of turf. And then we had to stack that up and we'd stook it, they'd say, where you put 8 or 10 and then put 5 or 6 on the top. And the wind would dry that in the bog. And then my favorite part was going to make the tea. I'd go to the neighbors and get water, and we'd boil the kettle, make a fire with the turf and boil the water, and then we made sandwiches, and we'd all sit around and have tea.
And did the whole family take part in doing something like that?
Not the whole family, about 6 or 8 of us would help out.
But the girls would also.
Oh
go.
yeah, boys and girls. And that's the best place we got at 10 was the bog.
Yeah.
Yeah, short sleeves.
But that weather had to be just right to cut that.
Just right, yeah. You couldn't go on a rainy day.
Yeah.
And it had to be windy, and that's what dried the turf. And then we'd bring it home in the tractor. A neighbor would come, my dad would pay him.
And how long would
And
you
that
have?
went on all day long, dragging about 20 loads of turf.
So you
and
take
you
it
fill
home
the
that
shed.
very day?
No, about a month later.
Okay.
You had
when
to leave
was
it
all
dry, yeah. Because it's very wet and heavy, and you'd see the oil coming out of it.
Yeah.
You know, like real bog.
Isn't it amazing that anyone ever
Amazing.
thought
To go
dry
from
that
that
and-
size to this size. Yeah.
and that anyone ever would have thought that you could burn something?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was our wood and turf, peat.
Yeah. Did you ever find anything in the bogs? Any bogwood?
We'd find bogwood, yeah, and we'd burn that. That was great. We'd leave it dry out. Sometimes there was rocks inside in the peat, and we used to get cottontails. They were like flowers with little cotton, like here, the cotton bogs. And we'd pick bunches of that and bring it home. Yeah, that was nice, the heather.
Yeah, the heather too. Yeah. Sounds like you have a lot of nice visual memories when you think back on your childhood.
Yeah, it was very nice childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, much nicer, I think, than my kids had.
Really?
Yeah. It
Were-
was healthier. We were outdoors and picking berries, blueberries, blackberries, cherries, gooseberry pie. We used to have so many gooseberry pies. It was very good.
Yeah.
It was a healthy life.
Yeah. Did you take vacations? Did you ever go off anywhere on a vacation?
No, not really. Just down to the beach.
Yes.
That was a vacation for us.
Yeah.
No.
How about the first time you saw a movie?
The first time I went away from home, a friend of ours, she had no children. She was a distant relative, and I got homesick. I vomited out the window upstairs. I couldn't wait to get home.
Couldn't wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. You're used to
Yeah.
the environment. Yeah. Do you remember the first time you ever saw a movie?
I was about 14, yeah. In the town, it's called a cinema.
Okay. And they
And-
had one in Kenmare?
Right. It was like cartoons.
Okay. Yeah.
And the dentist used to come to our town, right after our school, and then he'd, like my brother used to have to turn the wheel or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
to do the drill?
Yeah.
Ooh, geez, that must have been scary, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And how about the doctor, the local doctor?
He'd come to the house.
come out to the house.
Yeah, Dr. Keene.
I think the most amazing thing is to think of being born in a field
Yeah.
and then do
Well, she was expecting me. A lot of us were born like that. She had a midwife.
Yes,
Yeah.
But to be to be born outdoors like that, that that's amazing. Well, it was good weather anyway. We know
Yeah.
that day.
She worked hard, and then she delivered me and stayed a couple of hours and went back out to the field.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She was that hardy of a woman that she could do
Yeah,
something
amazing.
like that. Wow, that is amazing. That really is amazing. Is there anything that I haven't covered that you'd really like to make sure that you say, that you tell us?
No, I just had a good childhood, good life, healthy life. Thank God, knock on wood, all of us are healthy.
Yes, yeah. And
No ailments.
do you travel around and see your siblings?
I do. In fact, my sister's bought a retirement home out in Southold, so I'll take the Port Jeff ferry and she'll pick me up. But they're remodeling the house. I mean, it wasn't in good shape.
And you're thinking of going to South Carolina, huh?
Yeah, I'm going there the second week of August to look.
Yeah.
Wilmington.
Yeah, wow. Have you been there before?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't like to move away from my family, but one right now is living in Fairfield, and she works in Stanford and her husband. And then my middle daughter's working in New York. She moved there, but she might move up to Maine or wherever the boyfriend decides, whatever it happens. And then my youngest wants to move to Florida after the last winter. So I don't know what's going to happen.
Of course, after the hurricanes season passes through, she may change her mind.
Right.
Too. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'd like to be close to them and near them.
Yeah.
So
What kind of activities are you involved in down here at the club?
the set dancing. I come down decorations at Christmas. I like to do that with Esther.
Yes.
Cleaning up. I used to do the cleanup. The sandwiches for St. Patrick's, I used to do those. And what else? I'm not involved in the children's stuff. I'm trying to think, what else do I do?
You go to all the dances and things
Yeah.
like that?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And bake
And
for a lot of the
bake,
functions. Yeah.
Family recipes? Your mother's recipes, did you just learn by watching? Or?
Yes, a lot of them. Pinch of this and a pinch of that, fist of this, fist of that.
Yeah. Do you still like to have bacon and cabbage when you go back to home?
I do. I love it. It tastes very different. And their corned beef tastes much different than here.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to order it. It's not something they sell.
Yeah.
But that's very good.
Yeah.
And the poultry, the chickens are different flavor, and the meat is much whiter.
Than it used to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Than here.
Than here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nora, it's been really fun talking to you.
Yeah,
I've
thank
enjoyed
you.
it a lot.
I
And
hope I
thank
supplied you
so
with
much.
some
Oh, you
good
did.
information.
Very interesting stories, and we appreciate you taking the time to sit
you're
down
very
with us and
welcome.
talk to us.
You're very
Thanks,
welcome.
Nora.
Thank you, Sally, and thank you, Peggy, so much.
Don't